Hello and happy Monday. I am Hallie here with this week's weekly reading book review. I am taking the month of June off from Instagram, so coming to you from my blog and maybe YouTube if I remember my login. It's been a while since I put a video up there. Most of them were time-lapse paintings I did during the pandemic. So we are back to the correct video format, wide angle, so forgive me if my eye contact is off. I'm used to doing Instagram where it's up and down and I can just look at myself on the screen. So coffee cheers, we're working on it. So as every Monday, we're here to talk about the books I read this week and the books I might read next. And I even forgot my introduction because I practiced while I was putting on my mascara. So good morning, my wibbly wobbly, wildflower-laden lemon meringue wedding tarts. It's me, Hallie. Coffee cheers to you. Welcome to Monday. Everything is topsy-turvy, as you might imagine. So, without much further ado, the books I read this week. The first one I finished. This is Tales from the Cafe in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. I think he's Kawaguchi Coffee on Instagram, which we're not using this month, so working on it. Anyway, I got the full series, fifth book coming, although I did request the ARC from the publisher. So again, let me start over. I got these for my birthday, and I'm so happy. And if you gave me a birthday present, I'm so sorry. My thank you cards are late this year because all the reasons. But loved this. It's not as sad as the first one. So it's a Japanese basement cafe where there's one chair occupied by a ghost. She goes up to use the restroom one time a day, and if you sit in that chair, the waitress will pour you a cup of coffee, and you can go back in time or the future to visit someone from the past or future. But you only have a chance to talk to them until the coffee gets cold. If you don't drink your coffee in time, you become a ghost also. So they're kind of like short stories, and this being the second book in the so far 4-book series, you get more about the cafe occupants, like the not just the ghost, but like the waitress and the owner and the owner's daughter who live there. So we're starting to get a little more character development from the cafe regulars, as well as the people who come into the cafe to go back in time. Cool, makes sense. So loved it. Again, not quite as sad as the first one, but there is still some hard emotional topics. If you need trigger warnings, let me know. Okay, the next one I read is All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers, who I didn't know before I picked this up. She is a famous true crime podcaster. Crime Junkie is one of her claims to fame. So this was her debut novel. I think she's published another one since. So this is adult thriller, true crime-ish fiction. A reporter comes to town to take care of her uncle who raised her. He's suffering from Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever, and needs more help. She gets fired from her job, and she happens to have grown up across the street from a 6-year-old who was murdered, and so she always thought, is the intruder coming for me? And so she returns to her hometown investigating crimes. And so again, it was okay. I hate bad-mouthing books, but I'll just tell you to spare you if you don't want to read this. It is crime against young girls, and the even worse than murder crimes also happens. So there's predators and secrets, and it kind of felt, if I can say this, like a Nicholas Sparks novel of true crime. There's a lot of plot lines trying to be put in, which is common for a debut novelist, that we put a few too many like story elements because we want to put it all into our book in case it's the only book we ever published. Not that I'm speaking from personal experience at all trying to write a book. Sarcasm. So it was a lot. A lot of it was hard to read. There are some cusses and, of course, violence against young children. So read with caution. Had a few decent twists that I kind of guessed, but, you know, you might not if you're not looking for them. So that was okay. It was a Barnes & Noble, you know, like buy one, get one 50% off, and I picked it up that month. The next one, which really loved it, guys. This is The Bard and the Book, How the First Folio Saved the Plays of William Shakespeare from Oblivion, because this is kind of stuff I love, guys, by Anne Bousum and illustrated by Marta Sevilla. She's a Spanish illustrator. So lovely gouache cover painting. Dig it. This is out from Peachtree Books, I believe. Yes, right nearby in Georgia, Atlanta. You can see I flagged a lot of things and I ran out of my cute little monster tabs and then started tearing up sticky notes that were nearby. So this is great. And look how cool that hand lettering on the cover too, the naked cover. This is kids nonfiction. However, I have always adored children's nonfiction because it tells us what we need to know without getting lost in the academia of it. So there are stories and metaphors to help kids and grown-ups who still learn like children understand things. So cool. And what I also love about early modern literature, I believe is what Shakespeare's era was, she briefly reviews like why we don't know the plays of Ben Jonson as well as Shakespeare's plays, etc., how printing worked back then. So like mind your P's and Q's. I always thought it was like a reference to drunk people in a pub. I still thought it was British, but I thought it was pints and quarts. But it's P's and Q's because you had to, back then, like when Gutenberg invented the printing press, all the plates were lined up backwards, obviously, to print. You pull a print, which I also know from being an artist, and it's very confusing to go backwards. So your P's and Q's, they look the same, but you have to remember that you're putting letters down backwards, so mind your P's and Q's. Comprend? Okay, so anyway, loved it, loved all the little Shakespeare nerdy facts, a few quotes throughout, very accessible, and an extensive bibliography in the back. Also awesome that she got to visit the Folger Library and actually handle one of the first folios. And I won't go into all the nerdy things I know about Shakespeare, but if you even have a cursory obsession, a cursory familiarity, a cursory interest in the bard or his works, or you want to get your kids into theater and even how making a book works. We cover signatures and quartos and folding paper and printing, and it was just great. And I literally read it in less than an hour because it's great big type, digital illustrations throughout, and all kinds of facts that can stick with you later to impress your friends at a party, which is the only kind of parties I go to, is where we get to talk about nerdy stuff, or the only kind of parties I want to go to. Anyway, coffee? Anyway? Yep, me. Okay, currently reading. I am loving this one. This is The Language of Ghosts by Heather Fawcett. I wasn't familiar with her work until the encyclopedia, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies just came out, which was kind of a YA adult fantasy crossover. This is one of her middle grade books, came out in 2020, I believe, new to me. A friend of mine, hi Sarah, got me a bookshop.org gift card, and this is what I spent it on. I was lured by the title, again, The Language of Ghosts. Who doesn't want to read that? And this awesome cover illustration. It is a girl, her older brother, and her younger sister who, our opening scene is there are assassins after them. Their queen mother has been killed and they flee. And now, fast forward just a teeny bit, a few years, they're on an island that her magician older brother, who's the only known person able to speak all 9 magical languages to make things happen, has them on an island that they steer, hiding from the guy who's trying to assassinate them and take over the entire kingdom. So, for fantasy, it is not as complex, perhaps, as I just made it sound. So it's very readable, but there's still magic, and I love it. And again, Language of Ghosts, Heather Fawcett, middle grade, appropriate for all ages. Loving it, not too spooky. We just got to why the title matters. Hadn't met any ghosts yet, but maybe now we have. Also otters, so hooray. Might read next. This pile is rarely, if ever, accurate, but here's books I'm thinking about reading next. This is If Cats Disappeared from the World. Oops, just dropped another one. By Genki Kawamura, because could I go a week without reading a book of Japanese fiction in translation these days? No, I can't. So love that, just soft printmaking. It looks like a woodblock print cover from Japan. And let me pardon the book I just dropped. This just came out. This is 12th Knight by Alexene, farol, follmuth. Sorry, don't know how to say your name. She's AKA Olivia Blake when she writes for grown-ups. So this is her second YA novel. I was just listening as I got ready to Marissa Meyer's Happy Writer podcast, where she's interviewing this lovely author. So it's kind of a 12th Night retelling, but she said vibes are both wink emoji and the 90s teen rom-coms that we did a lot of Shakespeare, like She's the Man, and Clueless was obviously Emma by Austen, but there was another Shakespeare one that we did in the 90s. And so it's just kind of like silly for silly's sake and not exactly a parallel retelling. She was just inspired by her favorite Shakespeare play, 12th Night, which is normally not spelled with a K, but this is like online role play. So easy to get who's who mixed up. Cool. Okay, and then in a book swap recently, I got this middle grade graphic novel, The Cardboard Kingdom, which just looks like a lot of fun. And sometimes when I'm in the space that I'm obviously in right now, I love a graphic novel just because it's fun and colorful and there's art and I love it and it doesn't stress me out. So that's what you might read next, guys. Let me know what stories you're reading, loving, enjoying. I have so much to do this week, but all good things. So we will chat more books next Monday right here. Wherever you're watching this, I will be updating the June's reading wrap-up blog post with a new episode every week this month, which you'll always find on halliel.art, or if I manage to put this on YouTube, right here, wherever we are on YouTube. So talk to you guys and gals later. Coffee cheers, and love you much. Bye. Mwah!